Hello, it's Link95, and we're back with more Mario Maker. In this episode, we'll be making a simple Super Mario Bros. 3 style level. Now, the only real reason I wanted to make a level like this is because of the colored blocks that you can place throughout the level. Yeah, that's actually the only reason. But from there, I started to think, which elements haven't I really used up to this point? And the first thing I thought of was, well, the Karibo shoe. And with the main idea of the level decided, which would be the Karibo shoe, I decided to add elements that the Karibo shoe could interact with from there, which would include the black chompers that you could walk on without taking damage. And then I decided to add the idea that I scrapped from the Monty's Ice Grinder level, which were the spine enemies that I still haven't looked up the name of, and just place them on blocks, because with a Karibo shoe you can bounce off of them and kill them. And just to add another element that I haven't really used a lot before, I decided to add the Ham Brothers into the level as well, which ended up working fairly well because of the platform layouts, or because of the platforms I decided to use. Because the entire point of them is the fact that you can jump through them. And it kind of made sense to have Ham Brothers with a level like that. Now, one thing I managed to do in this level is I introduced every element that you're going to encounter in this level in the first third, and then after you weave through this section here with the platforms, the entire rest of the level is going to be covered with the black chompers. However, there will also, throughout the entire level, be more Karibo shoes for you to get. Now, the idea of having all these Karibo shoes throughout the entire level is actually stolen from, well, my own level, the Seafood Salad level, by having enemies jumping at you from below. Now right here, I hit the sprite limit because I didn't actually know that the black chompers were considered sprites. I thought they were going to be considered objects, similar to how the spikes were, but since you can add wings to them, I guess they're considered a sprite. Right here, I toy around with making the idea with the spine enemies, making it more challenging because they already had it once earlier, by adding more of them, but since they started moving very unpredictably, depending on which side they were on, I decided to just shake them and make them loose, so that way they started moving faster. Right here, I just tried to introduce a section with the Hand Brother again. I decided to add two of them because it was kind of weird only having one of them. He was way too simple by only having one Hammer Brother, though I think I ended up with the opposite problem by adding two of them. Then right here near the end of the level, to change up the level a bit while still keeping the same core idea, I introduced Karibo shoes with wings, which is a fun little thing you can add to the level. I think it's a pretty neat touch that you can do that. Now right here at the end, I decided to just add a bunch of blocks with more of these spine enemies with, and a power block, simply because I hadn't really used a power block before. The idea is simply the fact that by the end of the level you're gonna jump into the power block and score a 1-up. It's something I decided to remove at the last minute, simply because it didn't feel like it was... how should I word this? Like back in the Spelunker Olimar level, at the end of the level, or near the end of the level, you got to take revenge on the Monimals there by throwing a shell at him, but it didn't really seem right to do that against the spine enemies, simply because they weren't the main obstacle throughout the level. No, to the actual playthrough of the level. Like always, I make sure that the level is speedable without the power-ups. It isn't demonstrated right here, because I kind of forgot that I usually do that, so after this section, actually after the introductory first third of the level, I decide to dump the Karibo shoe. Should happen around here. Now, one thing to note about the way the chompers is laid out, with them all of them being like one block away from each other, the gap... The chompers are kind of weird that they're not, even though they take up a full tile when you place them, they don't cover that entire tile, so if you wanted to, you can actually run along the floor of this entire level. And it's a little challenging to do, simply because there are enemies on the floor all the time, But it is possible. Right here, I swore I hit jump, but I didn't, apparently. But I got to highlight the use of the checkpoints and present you how they work. The hamburgers here did not cooperate how I wanted them to. The main reason I even added 2 of them was because, okay, I want them to have the ability to jump below. Which, I mean, one of them did, but didn't quite pan out how I wanted to. There is... You might notice that I didn't add any question mark blocks with mushrooms in them. There is a mushroom hidden in the blocks by the Hammer Brothers earlier. It's hard to get, but the Hammer Brothers just push back far enough so that it's possible. But anyways, that concludes this level. Next time, we'll be looking at the level featuring some fairly unpopular enemies, so see you guys then.